Welcome back to Sports by GSMC Podcast Network. Thank you for sticking with me through that break. If you were just tuning in, we just finished breaking down the NBA action from last night, including a thrilling game between the Heat and the 76ers that ended with a 1-point victory for Joel Embiid and the 76ers, and also a devastating injury for the Miami Heat as they go into an elimination game tomorrow against the Chicago Bulls without their star, Jimmy Butler, who sprained his MCL in the first quarter and played the whole game on it. In this segment coming up here, we are going to talk a little bit about the NFL and their mini camps, their voluntary mini camps. They started this week for a whole bunch of teams, and there were a couple big stars that declined to show up. Now, again, this is voluntary, and we'll go over the implications of these guys not showing up, what they're looking to get out of it. Most of them want a new contract, but the media surrounding all of it and what it might look like in the future between these teams and their relationships with the players. But before we get into that, remember, if you would like to be an even bigger part of the show than you already are, all you need to do is go to gsmcpodcast.net. Leave a tip or donation with a message in it. It'll pop up on the bottom of the screen. We'll have a little discussion about what you had to say. You can control what we talk about on the show. All you need to do is leave that message with your donation at the link on the screen, gsmcpodcast.net. We'll have a discussion. Appreciate everything that you do give. Appreciate all of you guys for watching. And once again, please leave a tip or donation at that link on the screen right now, gsmcpodcast.net. But like I was saying, we are going to talk about NFL voluntary camp. There's a whole bunch of huge name players that decided not to show at the beginning of the week or not to show at all. We'll talk about the biggest names, what the effect of these players not showing up. Most of them are trying to get new contracts. If it's going to work, maybe they'll get traded. There's lots of reasons why they didn't show up, but we're just going to start off with the biggest team, the Dallas Cowboys. They had two of their biggest stars not show for voluntary camp. One on the offense, one on the defense. That being CeeDee Lamb, Pro Bowl wide receiver, and all-pro defensive player Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons and CeeDee Lamb are both up for contract soon. Both of them are looking to get market resetting money, and I fully expect both of them to get it. Although it is going to be a little tough to pay both of them at the same time, I don't see a future with the Dallas Cowboys where both of those guys are not locked in long term, especially the way that Jerry likes to run things. They will finagle their way through the salary cap, make it so that they can get both of those guys signed, but they're not here. CeeDee Lamb, obviously, and most of the top wide receivers are looking for new money, including Justin Jefferson, including T. Higgins, including Jamar Chase. All these guys are looking for new contracts. They're all coming up soon, and we're all of them are waiting. They don't want to be that first domino to go. They want to be second. They want to get more money. They want to see what the market looks like before they go all in. And not showing up for minicamp shows some leverage, saying, "Hey, we're serious about these contracts." Now, like I said, it is voluntary camp, so it doesn't really matter all that much that they're not showing up. They're not stepping on the necks too hard. They're just showing their hand a little bit, saying, hey, let's start talking about a contract. Let's start drawing the details up. My client would like some money. Let's see where the market's at. Let's see what we can get. And this is really all it is for a lot of these guys. There's some more questionable ones. I know Darius Slayton from the New York Giants, wide receiver, also did not show. He's looking for a new contract. This move doesn't quite carry the same amount of weight with him because when you're talking in terms of wide receivers, Darius Slayton, comparing it to Justin Jefferson doing the same thing, one of them is going to have more weight behind their actions. Justin Jefferson is another guy that has skipped out on on the Vikings minicamp. Again, not a huge deal. There's some rumors swirling around him being traded. I would be shocked if the Vikings traded away Justin Jefferson. I fully expect them to get a deal. He'll get more money than whoever. I heard he was waiting on at least one other major receiver to get signed first. Like I said, there are a whole bunch of receivers that are out there waiting to get money, waiting in the wings for that first domino to fall, and it's a big question of who. I expect it to be CeeDee Lamb. I think the Cowboys are going to make sure he gets his money, make sure that he is happy in Dallas because that offense run through him. You talk about a guy that was instrumental in their success last season. The running game just was not going too well for the Dallas Cowboys. Tony Pollard wasn't getting the job done. Dak Prescott had to get his guy, CeeDee Lamb, the ball constantly and often. Uh, it was a very impressive season for him. I believe he put up 1,500 plus yards. It was very impressive for what he did. He is going to get big money. And on the other side of the ball, I mean, we talk about Jerry Jones and the Cowboys all the time and how they love to do good by their own. You have Micah Parsons, who kind of started to become a controversial figure in the media, or at least surrounding off the football field. It's not like he's doing anything awful or anything wrong legally. It's just there are reports about his attitude being bad, reports saying, hey, he isn't being nice to fans, he's doesn't care, he's going off talent alone, which is scary because a guy like Micah Parsons, who is one of the most special talents in the entire NFL, if he's doing all of this not really trying, it's scary to think. It's along the same lines of Nikola Jokic in the NBA. You have a guy who is just the greatest, and he doesn't really care. Micah Parsons isn't quite the same. He clearly cares about football. He loves football, and he's very good at it. One of the most special defensive players I've seen in quite a long time. You can put him at almost every single position. He's even lined up as at corner sometimes, which is ridiculous. It's crazy how athletic of a guy he can be at his size, at his weight, his speed. All of it is almost unheard of. But these guys are missing out on minicamp. And again, draft is a week away at this point. It's not going to matter too much. I don't expect any of this to really do anything. I don't expect any of these guys to be traded. I don't expect any of these guys to have a contract done in the next couple days. But this just kind of gets the ball rolling. It kind of shows both sides, hey, we're here to negotiate. Let's get it done. Brings a public message out there, gives players a little bit of leverage. Hey, we did it once, we'll do it again later. Just give us the money we want, or we'll miss some time, whatever, we'll deal with the fines. So, very interesting to see the setup for the wide receiver market, really, because the wide receiver market is about to explode. You look at the wide receivers that are free agents coming up, and it's scary. You have, like I said, you have Justin Jefferson. You have CeeDee Lamb. You have all these guys that are coming up next. Calvin Ridley got huge money off of it. These guys are, we're looking at a whole bunch of huge names in that wide receiver market especially. And the defensive tackle market there's always one market that kind of explodes, right? And you have these huge names that are ready to go. Next season free agents, just off the top. Stephon Diggs, T. Higgins, Keenan Allen, Chris Godwin, Amari Cooper, Brandon Cooks, DeAndre Hopkins, Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson, Brandon Ayuk. This is going to be a crazy wide receiver class next season, and if I'm a team with some of those guys, I am making sure that I am paying them earlier rather than later, because that price tag is only going to go up. You pay a guy like Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, and Justin Jefferson are going to want more money. So on and so forth. The market is going to keep resetting, like we've kind of seen. Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to be a free agent next season. You see all these guys out here, and you saw with the defensive tackle market this season. It kept going and going and going and going, and there's so many defensive tackles that have been signed just this offseason, extensions to keep them happy, keep them in that same pay range. big offseason for the defensive tackle position, and that's great for them. We love it when the defensive tackles, the big boys, get their money. But we're starting to see this happen more and more, where there's going to be a run on a position. And next year, it looks like it's going to be wide receiver. So if I'm one of these teams with a Justin Jefferson, with a Jamar Chase, with an Amon-Ra, with a CeeDee Lamb, I'm getting ahead of this. I'm giving them an extension right now before that market explodes. And once that first extension goes, it's going to go crazy. The entire wide receiver market. We're just waiting on that first domino to fall. And if I am a front office, I want to be that first domino. I want to know my guy is out, and I don't want to get in an arms race going higher and higher and higher. But that's what the players want. So the players are going to hold out as long as they can. It's a very interesting game of chicken when you're doing contracts, especially when you're looking at this looming tidal wave of huge contracts right over the horizon. You want to be on the top. You don't want to be the little wake. You want to be over here on the wave, the very top of it. But yeah, there are plenty of huge stuff coming up in the NFL. What's it called? The NFL draft is right around the corner. That is coming up next week. I'll have one more final mock draft for you the day of the NFL draft. So coming up next day, mock draft 3.0. Coming up next week, mock draft 3.0 with my final predictions and all that stuff, clearing all the smoke for you. But we are getting to the off season. The off season is in full swing. We're almost done. It's very exciting. In our next segment coming up, we are going to talk a little bit about baseball. We did power rankings, so we're doing our second version of the power rankings. This week's power rankings, the big risers, the big fallers. There were people that moved up 12, 11 spots. Some fell, some rose. We'll take a look at all of that and more. 14 spots down, everything like that, coming up in just a second on Sports by GSMC Podcast Network.